This is Jay,
This is A,
and this is Mocksicated.
where we drop the booze and walk through the reality of life alcohol-free.
So grab your favorite mock, get ready to laugh, and let's get Mocksicated.
Hello.
Hi.
We are very excited today because we have a special guest.
We are, and we haven't had a guest in a while. And so I'm so excited that we have Amy Landino with us here today for our guest. Hi, Amy.
Hi, you guys. Allie and Jess have been waiting for this conversation for so long. I'm
We
so
have
excited to have you.
we have had a couple reschedules for this episode, and so finally just being together is exciting.
We are so excited. Yes. And it was so nice to be greeted with all the pink. If
Yes.
you are watching on YouTube, then you get to see how much we
So
align.
much pink.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Amy. Anything, what makes you you, what you do, and yeah, whatever details you want to share with our listeners.
Well, my name is Amy Landino. I mean, I think I've been on the internet just a really long time, so it tends to be this like fun adventure to explain myself. But I'm the author of Good Morning, Good Life, and I've been sharing that with my community for quite some time. My book came out in 2019, and
Wow.
we recently republished it and expanded it. So it's been this like really fun thing. That's all come from an adventure of coaching businesses and educating people on YouTube about how to make the most of their time. And I'm sure you guys can relate to that. I think on a sobriety journey, you learn a lot about time and how it shrinks and how it expands and how you can make the most of it and when you can kind of waste it a little bit. But it was honestly just a journey of sharing what I knew with a community who liked it. And one day they were like, how do I make the most of my time? And I said, well, let me help you solve that problem. And morning routines kind of came out of that conversation, just the idea of starting the day on your terms and how powerful that can be.
Ooh.
And once you understand its power, how you can wield it in a lot of different ways. And it's just been a lot of fun along the way in teaching that.
I love that so much. And it is so funny because we do talk about all kinds of routines so much on this show because it is something I think when you get into sobriety that is not only like easier to do, but almost like soothing for us to
Mm.
kind of have these rhythms that we are able to do and kind of honor every single day. And so I'm wondering kind of like what led you to this journey. Were you always someone that was focused on like morning routines and starting your day right, or was there something that kind of inspired this in your life?
Well, I used to work in corporate. I was working for a law firm. I started working there because I thought I was going to go to law school. I was just like doing all the normal things you do when you're trying to find yourself. Like, what should I do that will make me money? I'll go to law school. I was like, let me go work for a law firm, see if I like it. Really good idea, by the way, because you find out what life at a law firm is like. And as much as I
Mm.
loved that job, I was like, I don't need to be a lawyer. This doesn't look like the best life. But I got a lot of amazing things out of that experience. Uh, One of the things was discovering a passion on the side of it and realizing, like, whoa, I might change the trajectory of my life. I might leave this job. And at a time where the millennials were coming out of college and not getting work and moving back in with
Mm.
their parents. So you're talking about '07, '08. You have the housing crisis happening. And I'm going, hey, maybe I'll quit my job and become an entrepreneur. Living on my own with a full-time job and a 401k and free candy at work. It was kind of a crazy idea. I eventually did leave. It took me some time. But when you go into business for yourself, you quickly realize, oh, right, I'm the boss. And you're looking for the adult in the room, but you are that adult. And you're like, okay, w- now at the beginning of business, it's like a honeymoon phase and you're just living for it. And you're like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to go to the coffee shop to work on my baby. But over time, you do need some structure to kind of keep you reeled in, especially if you identify as somebody maybe ADD or whatever, that you get so excited by the shiny thing. And a lot
Yeah.
of times in business, there's so many shiny things you can jump on. So I just started thriving on knowing what the core standards were in the business that I had to hit. What were the beats I had to hit so that I knew that even if the shiny thing came along, even if a new opportunity came, and when you build brand, new opportunities come for you all the time. You guys know this, I'm
Yep.
sure. You have to be able to know, like, what do I stick to? And I have to say that's been the biggest misconception people have had. They come to my channel, they learn about routines, they see the structure. They're like, this sounds really boring. Like, when do you live? And it's like, no, but you don't see the point. Because of this structure, I have more flexibility. Because of this structure, I am able to thrive. Because of the standards, life is exponentially better because I'm not praying the next day it's all going to work out. And I think that's how I've gotten really into it. I've just seen how it works. And I'm just
Yeah.
excited to share things I know with people. So as soon as I know it works, I can take it to my YouTube channel or what my coaching clients, whatever, and we run with it. And it's just so much fun to be able to share it.
Oh, I love that so much. And
Yeah.
everything you just said, because truly we both are entrepreneurs and have our own jobs outside of Mocksicated as well. And truly, I'm always looking for the adult in the room.
I know.
I'm like, oh, and I do have a routine and a schedule that I have to adhere to, or I will not get anything done. And so I am a very routine-based person. And even in motherhood too, like if we
Yeah.
do compare to sobriety a lot on our motherhood journey, not having a routine in the beginning, I was like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And so the routine and just sticking to that, it does. And you said it, like waking up the next day and knowing like I have a routine, I know how this day is going to go, just like half of my anxiety is already gone.
Like melted.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you made a really good point too, because as someone who is neurodivergent, even before I discovered I was neurodivergent in motherhood, I started organizing like obsessively. And I am someone who used to be called like Messy Jessie. That was my nickname. But there was something about the organization that was so soothing for me in the house. And I remember, my friends and stuff, especially who weren't used to that, were like, oh my gosh, your house is always so organized, so organized. And it was like, I need this. For me, this is something that like I need in place so that I can take so much of what's going on up here like out. And it sounds like exactly what you described. Like a lot of people from the outside are like, oh my gosh, it seems like you're doing all this extra work. And you're like, no, I'm actually making it so that I don't have extra work and extra things to think about all the time. And I know, in sobriety myself, it's been so much easier to do these things because when I was drinking, even if I had a plan for the morning or something that I wanted to do, I would wake up and then, I wouldn't be feeling good or I would have not gotten enough sleep, and that would take precedence over, my normal routine, which can throw your nervous system out of loop anyways.
Yeah, too. And I think too, in early sobriety, our routines are changed so much.
Drastically.
Like drastically, whether we want them to or we're planning to. And I think a big part of that is they need to be realistic for you and your
who you
lifestyle.
are. Yeah.
And I think I was reading your book does have a whole section on a realistic routine. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. And there's a really big reason. Since I started talking about routines, specifically morning routines, it was probably around 2018 when I started talking about it on YouTube. I mean, they popped off. And then TikTok, it went a whole different direction with it. And then it became very romantic, like the morning routine. And everybody's routine just looked like amazing. Just like, look at her go. And it's just, that's not what a morning routine looks like. You're not dolled up, you're not perfectly lit, your camera's not in just the right spot. Okay. Like it's just not the case. And I was like, this is getting a little bit to a level of just being discouraging when this is meant to be something that makes you feel like you can weather what else is to come. So I just say, like, don't plan to be a morning person. Plan to be a life person. Look at the morning as how you prepare for when conditions aren't right. And so, being inspired by many books that taught me about morning routines, I was like, let's just fill a few buckets here. 3: movement, mindfulness, mastery. Movement, pretty simple. Go to the gym at 4 a.m. I'm just kidding. That definitely don't do that if that's not for you. It's very important that you choose what movement means to you. I never used to be a worker outer in the morning person. It continues to evolve now. I've kind of like adjusted it. It was first thing in the morning because my kids were really small and it was just how the day worked out. Now it's post school drop off. That's a better place for me because I'm getting some more sleep. But like it used to be, I would move the muscles around on my face and apply moisturizer. Movement complete. I'm good. Like as long as I've done that, I'm happy. Movement, checked it off. Mindfulness, whatever you want. If you don't want to meditate, don't meditate. If you don't want to read a book, don't read a book. But I do recommend that you choose what you absorb first, and that's your mindful moment. Most of us don't. Most of us go to the phone. And what happens with the phone? It has been engineered to tell you what to think,
Yeah.
depending on whatever notifications or app you open, right? So mindfulness is just choosing what you absorb. I was seeing, I did a review of Cindy Crawford's morning routine on Instagram. Everybody was up in arms about it because it was 3 hours long. And I'll unpack that a little bit. But the first thing she does is open up either like a Bible podcast or like the Bible app, and she's just listening to it and she's dry brushing her legs. Like perfect movement, mindfulness, knocked out like that. So just choose what you're listening to. And especially if you're like, I don't even like my own thoughts. If it's
Yeah.
not even choosing your own thoughts, that's okay too. You can make
Mm.
a better choice and you can choose, okay, if I've not been telling myself a good story, let's pick something else. And this is what my mindful moment's going to be. And again, that could be a 2-minute video. That could be listening. Like that is what, the Bible app, I think if you play it, it's like 2 minutes. You could go to YouTube, you could listen to some hype motivation video. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want for that. Just choose what you absorb.
I love
Very
that.
And then
smart.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's my go-to. Sorry, continue.
Love it. Finally is mastery. And this was the one thing that struck a chord with my audience because a lot of people were following me saying, I want to follow the same path. I want to leave corporate. I want to go all in on my thing. But that requires a lot of trust in self, right? To be able to say, I'm going to jump out and do this thing, even if you've saved up like a 6-month emergency fund, it's a big chance you're taking to say, I'm going all in. You have to get in the reps from a confidence standpoint. So what are you becoming a master in? Whatever your business is, if that's what you're doing, you're trying to become a master in something so that you'll get paid for it. So that was sort of the inspiration behind it. What is that thing you're mastering? How do you get your reps in the morning to say, at least I checked that box?
Wow.
If you were becoming a professional pianist, they practice scales. It doesn't matter if they're hella talented and they know how to play the most complicated pieces on earth, or they're still learning, whatever, for Elise or something. Like they're still practicing those scales. That's an example of mastery. What are the reps that you're getting in the morning? So for me, it was like, I just want to write a YouTube video. And when I leave, I'll, leave work. I'll film it, or maybe I'll have time over the weekend, but at least I wrote it. At least I'm starting to show that it's not a hobby. It's becoming a real thing. So movement, mindfulness, mastery, 3 moments. Fill the buckets however you want. It's not prescription because I don't know
Yeah.
what your best life looks like. You get to decide what that is.
That is so beautiful. And I feel like it aligns with exactly what we do so much because the romanticism and the social media just leaves so many of us chasing something that was never made for us or meant for us, that was never going to work for us. And the only way to really get something to stick is to have some kind of connection to it. And the only thing that you're going to connect to is, what works for you. Saying, I saw this person on TikTok who, did all of these glorious things. But what actually works for me is, doing a dance in the morning and turning on my favorite song for my mindfulness. And yeah, like writing down some notes. I love that last part because to me, it does so much in a like manifesting way. Because even if like you were to write down a couple, YouTube videos you were wanting to film, and maybe some of them you actually never did or whatever. It is just like you said, the repetitive mindset of like, this is me, this is my job, this is what I'm getting paid for, this is my value, this is what people come to me, for, this is the gift I have to offer. And I mean, for me, that's like a huge takeaway I think that I'm going to have from this podcast, because it's almost like the first two are for like shaking out what it doesn't need to be there. And then the last one is like sealing in kind of like you. And I really love that model. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course. And I want to point something out, because I'm not here to like poop on social media. Like, there's a reason. I mean, even think about how many people were trying to leave the country to go travel like 30 years ago. We weren't thinking about leaving the country to travel because we didn't know what we were missing.
Yeah.
Social media has introduced us to so much.
Yes.
But the problem is we're just a little bit too literal.
Mm-hmm.
You should see what fabulosity is happening and go, that's dope. Okay, great. Now I know that's possible. Awesome. If that's possible, what's possible for me? It's okay if it's not copy and paste. It's way better if you go, if they can do that, what would I choose?
Mm-hmm.
Prove it to yourself. By the way, people struggle to come up with their 3 morning moments, and I just want to make it really easy. If you guys don't mind, I just want to give something away.
Yes.
Please.
You guys just find me on Instagram, send me the word Mocksicated, and I'll send you the Shine Master list. While it's in the book, and I want you to read the book, just get like a sneak peek of like what ideas there are for each category, movement, mindfulness, mastery, and pick and choose your own, see how it feels.
Yes.
Sometimes you're going to pick 3 for one day. You're only going to get to 2. You'll be sad, but you will like a couple of them, or maybe even just one, and go, that one sticks. I'm going to do that one again tomorrow. And you just play with it until you get to a place where, oh, it's habitual because you like doing it.
Yeah.
It's actually a habit.
Yeah.
So just send me Mocksicated on Instagram. It's a PDF. We'll send it over.
Yay. And we'll put that in the show notes too. It's such a good point too, to like continue to keep trying these things. And I think that this all comes from like, instead of an exclusive like thing, making it like, oh, that's okay for you, that's okay for you, and that thing you did actually inspired me to try this, and it didn't work for me, but it spawned like this new thing that did work for me. And it's just, it kind of just, I don't know, I'm like picturing the creative pool just growing bigger and bigger and bigger because of this idea, instead of closing off and saying there's only one way. And I love the idea of not stopping just because something doesn't work, because we do have access, just as you pointed out earlier, to so much information and ideas and connections that people in the past didn't. And so being able to kind of look out there on social medias and see what everybody is doing, and let that inspire your own journey through trial and error, because trial and error is such an important part of getting to know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, no, and I think I mean, in my sober meetings, like I preach so much to that exact thing. Like, not every sober person likes mocktails.
Yeah.
Different things like that. If you don't like mocktails, don't drink them. It's like, just because you're watching someone on Instagram, like a sober influencer, drink a mocktail every day, doesn't mean that you have to drink a mocktail every day, And so,
but it can mean you drink water with lemon every day, or your coffee or something like that.
Just finding what actually is realistic for you and that you enjoy. And I know we preach it all the time here too, just like your sober journey is truly yours, and
you get to decide.
yes. But yeah, I love all of this. It's very great.
Every time I think I want a mocktail, I'm like, this is just like sugar and calories, right? Like
there are. I feel like when we do come across like a really good mocktail, we are like, oh my gosh, this mocktail is so
okay, I'm gonna
good.
have to get the recommendation.
Yeah,
it's a waste for me every time. I'm like, I'd rather go eat a piece of bread. I just love
Yeah.
Well, and it's true, because there
food.
has to be a good one. I mean, that's why I grab my coffee, because I'm like, I would almost always rather take my sugar with my caffeine. But again, like that's the cool thing, is like, I think I did try going out, for the first couple years in my sobriety and ordering, something or making it a mocktail. And now almost every time I will order water and a coffee.
Yeah.
And sometimes people look at me crazy and I'm like, it's what works for me.
Yes,
Happy. Oh
exactly.
my God. I literally have a coffee with me every second. It is,
Yes.
Yeah, us too.
It's the best.
it's just like the
Um,
best. I
so,
do switch to decaf because I'm like, let's slow it down.
oh yeah, that's A.
That's me.
She'll do that. I'll go caffeine all
Not
night.
this chick. I don't think she sleeps.
No, no, it's the neurodivergency. Someone looked at me last night. I had a coffee at 9 p.m. and I noticed him look at my drink and he didn't question, but um, something I was so interested about that you said at the beginning was that you just released like a revised second version to your book.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what that was like, what was it, 7 years later, coming back
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah.
And kind of what that felt like to go through what you had put down and think, oh my gosh, I did this, or oh my gosh, would I do this again?
Thank you for asking that. It's been really like, I almost feel like it's like to brag on me. It's been too cool of a situation.
I love
How
that.
is this happening? If you guys recall 2019, we were all in very different places, I think, in some way, shape, or form. And I
Yes.
definitely know that there was a big awakening, I think, for a lot of people when it comes to sobriety and their journey with that during 2020. Because there were a lot of people that went through a very, very hard time
Yeah.
during that year. This book came out in December of 2019. So
Wow.
completely different place in my life. And so the cool thing about that is that it still works. I'm like, wow, this book still stands the test of time. That's fantastic. Especially because at that time had been married for a couple years. I didn't have any kids. I was the productivity YouTuber. Everybody in the comments was like, yeah, whatever. Let me know when you got kids and I'll take some of your advice here. And I was like, huh, is that a good enough reason to have kids? Probably not. But eventually I was like, let's give it a go. And then it wasn't working out. My husband and I, 2020, we were like, huh, it's not as easy as you think. And I'm
Yeah.
like mid to late 30s. So it's like, oh, okay, I must be old. So I'm going through that. And I have my own business. I'm fairly type A if you can't recognize one when you see one. And so I get after it, right? I'm waking up early, doing the things. I decided I'm going to go see a doctor. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Actually, first it was my OB, like, let's fix your thyroid. Then I wanted to go see a doctor because I wanted him to tell me my thyroid was perfectly fine. And he was like, it's not. So you got to keep taking that medicine. Here's some other things you're going to do. But ultimately, it was like, you need to sleep more. And I was like,
Mm.
now you need to hold the phone because my name is Amy Landino and I wrote a book called Good Morning, Good Life. And I love sleep. I wrote all about it. I'm the sleepiness fool and I love it. And you can't tell me otherwise. And he was like, okay, well, what time do you wake up? And I was like, 4:15, obviously. And he's like, what time would you wake up if you didn't set an alarm? And I was like, that's offensive, sir, because the American people use an alarm to wake up to go to work every day. So I will do the same, no matter what my life choices are and how much control I have over my calendar. And, but, I heard him out because I wanted to meet my firstborn. And I was like, okay, let's try it. I didn't think it was working, quite frankly. I mean, I did all the things he said, all the holistic things, a little bit of the, take your medicine American way things, but just for the thyroid. But I was sleeping more.
Mhm.
And we ended up selling our house and going to Italy for a month in 2021. And we were like, yeah, we can't get pregnant. Let's buy a condo in Florida. And we bought a condo in Florida and we got down there and found out I was pregnant. And I was like, now that we just moved away from both of our families. So, like, I say all of this because between writing the book and writing it again,
Mhm.
it was like, I have to address all of this. I have to
Mm.
address that you didn't just write the book and conditions were fabulous and she lived happily ever after. A book is an artifact, it's a moment in time. And while the principles can really stand, it doesn't mean it doesn't get hard at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
And that was a lot, business failure, trying to get pregnant, actually getting pregnant unexpectedly in a new state, trying to get health insurance, all the fun things, and then deciding we're going to move again because it's not right to be this far away from our families. And then we did that. And then I had a second baby. So now I have two kids. And now this book comes out and I've got two. It's a completely different moment of my life. And it only made sense to say, look, I went through a lot of this stuff too. I would never say I went through an infertility journey, even though maybe somebody would categorize it as that. But I just feel like it's a little offensive to people who really go through it.
Yeah.
When I'm sitting here saying, I slept more. Like, that's probably not helpful to a lot of people who've really been through it. But I went through some stuff and I could rewrite the book and say, here's what's happened since then. And here's how this has still helped me get through it.
I love that
Oh,
so
me
much.
too.
It's so powerful. And like, mentioning that you're type A and that little mention when you said like, should I have kids just for that? Like, I can't imagine how full circle this moment actually is for you to be like, yeah, no, I did. I went through some stuff. I did have the kids. I moved. Our whole country shut down and reopened a different way. And like the things that I wrote are still holding true. And it just like, such a beautiful moment, such a rewarding moment for you, and also like such a validating thing for your work and what you do. And even
Thank
more of
you.
a reason for our listeners to go read your book. I would love to read, like the before, and the after, or like what you added in, because it really is so cool to see somebody's journey continue on. And it is so inspirational for those people that are like, oh, I could never do that. I could never do that. Well, look, you did it.
Yes.
Yes. And, I continue to have to keep trying every day. I think everybody here can relate to that. Like, you just have to
Yeah.
keep choosing sometimes what should be easy by now, but the hard thing. And it really does pay off later. Thank you for saying that.
Aw.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Amy, it has been so nice talking to you. Do you have anything else that you would like to, clue our listeners in or leave our listeners with before we finish our conversation today?
When I think about it, because as I shared with you guys before the show, I've considered myself quite sober curious now for almost 2 years. I haven't had anything to drink, and it was really just like a let me try this on kind of
Mm,
thing, especially when you have kids that stress you the hell out, but
right.
are like also the coolest people you've ever met. And you
Right.
just like want to be okay most of the time for them. And that really has been a big motivation for it. But I just hope everybody starts to find more pluses from
Mm,
intention versus the pluses that maybe we've gotten in the past from default impressions. And
ooh,
taking a drink because I go to someone's, football game viewing party or whatever was always just a default impression.
mm,
And now I'm getting more of my pluses from the intention of what is my instead? How can I enjoy it in a different way? And I'm finding that not just in sobriety, but in a lot of other areas. And so if that's helpful for anyone, that's really been a light for me.
mm.
I love that.
It almost feels like that little bit of mastery
Yes.
coming in there, just specifically
Mm.
about like your alcohol intake and alcohol use, and just kind of like writing that little bit about that every day. I don't know. It's just like I really liked that part. And I feel like all of these themes just weave together so well because everything is truly a journey and nothing you get right the first try. Um, and so continuing to check in and continuing to check back on what is authentically you and what is authentically serving you, I think is just the most powerful message that we can give, especially women these days. But anyone
Yes.
deserves that message. So, gosh, thank you so much. It has been such a joy to talk to you and meet you, and hear your wisdom.
Yes.
Thank you. Jess,
Yeah.
Allie, like the fact that you even made time for me to come on and talk to your community just means so much. And thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes, and we will put in the show notes where to write Mocksicated so that you can get your free little gift from Amy for being a listener. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Amy, for being on. We love you, babes.
Talk soon.